So if we have speakers here for the Mosaic Lowell Cultural Economy Plan. Mr. Jay Linehan, are you presenting? It's tough to tell with the mask, so if you want to introduce everybody.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
And I'll be presenting as well with my colleague, Allison,
Oh,
who I think everybody knows from the Lowell Plan. And I'm going to let her begin because my mom taught me ladies go first.
Okay.
Thanks, Jay. Thank you, City Manager, members of the City Council. I'm Allison Laneby. I'm the Executive Director of the Lowell Plan and the LDFC. Can you hear me okay with this on? Okay. As Jay mentioned, we're here to talk about Mosaic Lowell. It's a new cultural economy plan for the City of Lowell that will focus on revitalizing the arts and culture in the city. And if you indulge me, I'll give you just a quick sort of recap as to why an organization like the Lowell Plan, why we're involved in this. One of the core values of our strategic plan is supporting the city's cultural diversity to strengthen diverse business developments in the city. And among the action items we have identified is looking at developing a new cultural economy plan for Lowell. And I say new because the Lowell Plan commissioned a consultant back in 2007, 2008 to do a plan that we're still seeing some of the benefits of today. Just a few of the highlights of those include the establishment of the Office of Cultural Affairs and Special Events that you all know exists here at the city. As a result of that creation, there was a significant streamlining of the regulatory process that's involved in hosting events and festivals in the city, which was a huge boost for organizations looking to host events here. The e-blasts that many of us all get regularly from Cool, that was a result of that planning process. Prior to that, there was no centralized broadcasting of events that happened in the city. The LDFC expanded the boundaries of our Downtown Venture Fund loan program to include Western Avenue Studios so that the creative businesses that exist there could participate in our lending programs. And some of the collaborative marketing efforts that you all know about, including There's a Lot to Like About Lowell, were launched from some of the planning effort of that first cultural plan. And much has changed and evolved over the years since 2008. Many institutions like the MRT, the Quilt Museum, the Whistler House, and many of our galleries still thriving and remain key stakeholders here. But we've also seen a growing number of new community-led and grassroots organizations that are launching arts and culture in the neighborhoods. And so this next plan, we hope, will serve as a tool to help build equity among those different arts and cultural organizations, to help find ways to incorporate arts and culture in some of the strategic planning efforts that the city takes on, and create new economic development opportunities for both the city and our creative businesses. And because most successful events don't happen in Lowell without partnerships, we reached out to many in our community to help us get started. In the fall of, I think, 2018, we connected with the Greater Lowell Community Foundation to launch this effort. And Jay Linehan's going to jump in and explain a little bit of where we are now today. But before we do that, I just want to introduce the other members of our steering committee that are here tonight. They include Howard Amadon from the Greater Lowell Community Foundation, Connor Baldwin from the City of Lowell, Bora Chimaroon from the LTC, Sarah Kuhn Lang from the Congresswoman Trahan's office, Jay Linehan and myself, Henry Marte from Marte Media at Western Avenue Studios, Latifa Phillips from the Lowell Public School System, Juan Carlos Rivera from the Boys and Girls Club, and Sofan Smith from E4All. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. And again, thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about what I think is a really exciting project for the city. Any cultural economy plan really has the same goals. And it's, increase revenue, increase participation, get people into the downtown, create new collaborations, and just have a synergy that occurs not only in the downtown, but throughout the entire neighborhoods across this entire city. So as Allison said, this occurred before, and people do this all the time. So why is it different this go around? Well, first of all, I think, you learn from some of the things that you do. You expound upon the things that worked well, and you work better on the things that didn't. And I think one of the things that are different in this go around is we've got another partner in this, and that's the Bar Foundation. If you're not familiar with the Bar Foundation, they are one of the largest foundations in New England. They've got over $2 billion in assets. And one of the things that they've been doing since 2017 is Barr's Creative Commonwealth program. And they have funded 5 other community foundations in Massachusetts to do things similar to what we're talking about doing right now. So we've got a major foundation that's committed to building the arts in the community, advancing diversity, equity, inclusion amongst that, and they've given us a grant to do that, and that's how we've started all this. Now, as we noted, we started this back in 2018. We were looking to get going in 2019, but something rolled into town that kind of set us sideways on that. We started it again in 2020, 21, and here we are now, and we're still having some stops and starts with regard to just, the entire pandemic, but I think we're making great strides. In your packet, there's a variety of information. One of the things that are in there is that on the 13th of this month, San Wong, who is the person at the Barr Foundation who is really spearheading all of this, is the keynote speaker at the Greater Lowell Community Foundation Celebrate Giving event. So what else has changed? I think the focus has changed a little bit. I think the focus that we have this time around is much more grassroots. I think the whole perspective that communities become much more dynamic and much more thriving when their arts and creative expression reflect the full range of all the cultures, all the traditions, and all the communities, of all the voices in our community. We've got a great consultant. We have got Civic Moxie, who was a person that was recommended to us by the Barr Foundation. They have done this work, and they've done this work successfully in the past. We've got the steering committee that Allison just spoke about, and those are some great partners that we've got. We've also got other great community partners that we've already chatted with, some of which, of course, you'd probably figure we have. University of Massachusetts at Lowell, Middlesex Community College, the Lowell National Park, Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Chamber of Commerce, and more. And we continue to want to get as much participation as we possibly can in the community. We've been doing focus groups. We've been reaching out on a variety of different platforms. Again, pandemic making it a little more difficult than we otherwise would prefer. But we have an advisory committee that we're continuing looking to seek individuals to participate in. So anybody who's watching us right now that's out there and going, this sounds pretty cool. How do I get engaged in this? We are looking for anybody and everybody across this city that's got an opinion and an idea or a thought with regard to what the cultural economy should look like in the city of Lowell to contact us, to get engaged, to give us what their thinking is, because that's what it is all about. We've got the materials, as you've noted in your package, with the materials that we're sending out aren't just in English. They're in 5 different languages. Well, obviously, that is an attempt to engage people throughout our entire community. So we're focus groups, we're convening with people. So fundamentally, what are we trying to do? We're trying to reach out to our entire community to get a sense of who are the folks that are in our community that are part of this cultural economy. What do they think that we need to have? We want to engage them, identify who they are. We want to create a business plan. If this is not sustainable, it doesn't go anywhere. This needs to sustain itself. We've chatted about, what are the revenues that we're going to need to support this? How do we engage this? Revenue needs to be a key piece of this to be sustainable. And as we talk about partnerships and the different things that are ongoing, one of the key things that we're excited about, of course, is you've posted the Director of Cultural Affairs and Special Events. That is going to be a key position within the city that we're looking forward to working with when they come on board. And if there's any role we can play with respect to that as you're bringing that person on board or whatever, we would be happy to assist you with that. So we're doing our research, we're doing our homework, we're trying to engage people. And so what's next? Originally, we had hoped that the plan would be done like this month. It's not going to be done this month for some of the reasons I've already mentioned. So we're looking to have a plan done in the first quarter of 2022, and we'll look at, what are some of the short-term achievable goals, the longer goals, what does the business plan look like, how can we engage a lot of other folks, how do we get and start to do little events, more little events, hopefully with the climate being better, out in the community, and to engage people more as to how important I think this particular effort is. And again, I have to emphasize, the downtown is clearly a big piece of this, but the neighborhoods are likewise an amazing piece of this. This is the entire city of Lowell. And again, I think engaging everybody from across the city is extremely important for the success of this. So it's aligning the assets, it's collaborating with all the different folks that want to do this. And so the way I look at this, and I think most of you know, born and raised in this city, have witnessed many, many tasks that this city has undertaken that were noble to do and had great benefits to the city. And the reason it got done and how it got done is everybody got together and got it done. And that's what we're going to need to have this happen here, too. The Greater Lowell Community Foundation, the Lowell Plan of Lowell, just some of the steering committee, that's not going to happen. We need everybody to participate in this. And I know the city's already been engaged in this, and we're going to continue to look for that. And we're going to look for lots of partners throughout the entire community to work with us as we go forward. I think one of the other things as we do this plan that I think is important to mention, it goes back to the Bar Foundation, is what they have done with the other 5 community foundations that they've engaged in, is they have funded a phase 2. And we are very hopeful that they will do the same with us, because I think the work that we're doing, they're aware of, they're supportive of the work, they know where we're at, and that phase 2 will be dollars for implementation. So we're looking forward to that. So I think we've got a lot of neat things in place. We're excited about the prospects of this. And we're looking forward to working with you and making an impact. You know, it'd be great when you go outside the city and you ran into folks and they said, man, I was in Lowell last week. That was so cool. Some of the stuff you've got going on there, I told my friend, and they're coming next week. And that's what this is all about. This is making Lowell a place where people want to get in their car and come on a regular basis. You know, and that's fundamentally where we're at, in engaging the richness that we've got in our community that is these different cultures across the board. And I think that's a real asset that this community has that we can leverage and do in a way that everybody benefits on this. Thank you for the time, and if anybody's got any questions, we'd be more than happy to address them.
Any questions? Madam Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No questions. I just want to commend Mosaic Lowell and their steering committee. This is really a very big deal for the city. Obviously, having the backing of the prestigious Bar Foundation, both financially and in planning and development, is really key. But it does underscore, how the arts and cultural community, they are an economy and the economic engine for the city of Lowell. And the only way, as Jay has pointed out, this works is with public-private partnership. And so this is the epitome of public-private partnership. The private entities, whether it's the foundation, the businesses, helping and working hand in hand with the city on what's going to be so important. And then the other thing I'll just mention, in 2007, when there was another plan done, and it was really very, very helpful and instructive to the city as we move forward, whether it was Artist Live Workspace and a whole number of things that were introduced and were executed. Today, in 2021, there's even more, not just the longtime players in the arts and cultural community, but there's so many more entities across the whole city. And so it's a very exciting time to be in this planning process. So I want to commend the steering committee. I know they've been working very hard, and it really is a big deal, and it's very important to the city. So I just want to thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Elliott?
Yep, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to Mr. Lenahan and the steering committee in general. As chair of the Economic Development Subcommittee, we have heard on the rapid recovery plan that the city is embarking on. This is just another element of the city's ability to reinvent ourselves, to once again go through a transformation and look at what resources we have. How can we leverage our existing resources, and as was mentioned, create and develop and use the partnerships that we have right here. We have a multitude of assets. So I think this group, thinking outside of the box, looking for ways to use what we have, and the Mosaic Lowell, it really makes so much sense with the multitude of cultures, food, art, creativity, and to have this ingenuity, this spirit. So we know we have the drive to succeed. We've done it in the past. Yes, the downtown needs some help, without a doubt. We've navigated through one of the worst crises there is. However, it's, as we say, it's the can-do spirit, and it starts with, and I think there's one of the 8 elements of the principles: dream big. And why not? Because we've succeeded in the past, and we can do it again. So thank you for coming forward. Thank you for the people in the community that are looking forward. How can we reinvent ourselves? And here's a roadmap. Here's a blueprint to start. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Conway?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be very brief here. I also want to echo what my colleagues have said. First of all, I would like to say that it's always great to see Jay Linehan at a city council meeting because what he does is he brings forward with the Greater Lowell Community Foundation good ideas, positive things for the city, and just a win all the way around for everyone. So again, I think this is another example of it. Now, we've worked over the years many times, and again, it's a great, the great love that you have for Lowell because of being born and brought up here. And there is, and it's been mentioned, but I have to say it's extremely important to mention again, and that is there is a thread throughout the history of Lowell, and it always has been there. And that thread is when there's an issue, when there's a problem, when there's an idea, the partners sit down at the table, and we've named them the business community and UMass and Middlesex Community College, all our nonprofits, Lowell's elected officials and appointed officials, and your office too, Madam Manager, with a number of other groups, all gathering together to come up with the common goal, and that's to make things forward better going forward. So I think this is a great idea, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm glad I'm certainly part of it, being somebody in Lowell, and it will be, I think, a model going forward, and people will certainly enjoy coming to the city and seeing what's going on. So again, I congratulate you and your team and Allison for stepping up, and once again, another fun and successful idea. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Samaras? Councilor Mercia, while Councilor Samaras.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the steering committee, great job to bring artwork into the city. But let me ask you, the artwork that's at the corner in the Teddy Panos building, is that part of it?
No, that's a separate project.
It's a separate
That's
project?
A separate project. That's through Project Learn.
Would you be doing similar to that?
Well, I think one of the things is that there are so many great things going on in this city. I mean, that's a great project. The National Park's doing great stuff. There's a variety of different things, and part of what we want to do is is to align and get more cooperation with the variety of different things that do occur. Those murals are awesome. And I think they're gonna lighten up clearly. If you've seen the mural lately, I looked at it today. It's cool. But there's so many different things going on, and they're going on in little silos sometimes. And there's not the interaction that we need. And that's the interaction that we need to leverage. Let the community beyond this Lowell, and even within Lowell, go, these are all these great things that are going on all at the same time. Come on downtown, take a look at that, then go get something to eat, then go shopping, and do this and do this and do that, and that thing will just continue to evolve. And that's the hope of all of this. And that's why it's called the economy plan, too. So, yes.
Yes, that's why we're all excited about this. This project from Project Learn is paving the way for the excitement that you're going to bring to the city as well. And when you see this person up in a boom, well, Councilor Conway, your next-door neighbor, of course, he's very into...
a tall fence.
He's very into the artwork, but I don't think he'd have the courage to go on a boom and do that himself. But we look forward to your project. This is really an exciting time. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Samaras?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Jay, first of all, I want to commend you and Allison. I mean, it's what we want to see. It's the Lowell Plan and Lowell Community Foundation coming together to enhance the quality of life in the city of Lowell. The city manager, has brought up many times, we're coming out of now this unbelievable epidemic But where are we? We have to come out of it, but now we have to show that we're alive and we're well. And this is like a shot in the arm. Jay, remember our friend Pat Mogan would say, you've taken this to the next level. And that's what's important. So the thing is, all the city can say, I think all we can say is that we're here to support you, because your two organizations and the work that this group is doing is just an example of what is the life of Lowell, what Lowell is all about. We can talk about this and talk about this, but there are very few cities, as you know, that really have the type of organization that we have and the type of help that we get from our community. But again, the one thing that when the old Community Foundation was started, one thing I wanted to see was how will that enhance the quality of life for everyone. And by this project here and the many projects that you have, you've shown what is important and how it can be done. So, and then the Lowell plan, you build this, it's good to see, because you do the buildings, the cement work, you lay the foundation. With the foundation comes a program. And it just gives us a reason to say everything's going to be okay, and the future in Lowell is bright. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Chow?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I be brief also. All my colleagues said so wonderful things about Mr. Lenihan. Thank you, and Ms. Lemay for the presentation. I'm very excited to hear about the project. I just can't wait to see more. I'm very excited to see that the project will be done, reach out to different communities and different neighborhoods. And this is a soft request right now. I just can't wait to see some project to be done also in the Lower Highlands as well. If that could be part of the overall plan, I think it would be very exciting. If you talk about culture, the Lower Highlands has one of the richest culture in the city as well. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Drinkwater?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll just briefly add, it's a very exciting project. One thing, and I've said it before, but Lowell is such a great arts and culture community, but you may not always know it by walking around the streets. We have great studios, amazing artwork within the walls. I think the mural were a great example of how by prioritizing public art, and beyond that, public events, it can really showcase the great arts and cultural community that we are. So I look at what's in the plan here, and I see sort of taking some of that arts and culture out from behind the walls, that some of us know so well, but getting it out in public for people to be able to enjoy and experience, and I think it'll just be a great thing for the city. So commend the work that's gone into it, and very excited to see the results.
Thank you. Anyone else? You might as well jump in, Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank the steering committee, Jay, Allison, and all the nonprofit organizations, including the Lowell Public School, for taking part in this. I'm confident that, Jay, that this time it's going to work and work well, because you not only invite all these leaders of the nonprofit to come to the dance, you ask them to dance this time, and you may even have them choose their own song in this. So absolutely, this is what we call diversity, equity, and inclusion. And thank you. The city will do our part to help making sure that happens. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I might just closing comment, I think it's somewhat appropriate if we stand here and I look at the logo over your head that says art is the handmaiden of human good as we talk about this particular project. And yes, there is a lot to like about Lowell, and when we're done with this, there'll be a lot more to like about Lowell. Thank you for your time.